Hi, everybody. It is time for the Blame Girl podcast with
Mr. Terry Wayne. How you doing?
I was like, did you freeze up? Did you freeze up?
I did freeze up
What's
a little
up, Terry?
bit.
And then
that's fine.
Okay. Are you Charlie? And we have Charlie in the house. Charlie.
Hey, what's up?
I'm so afraid to
Try it. Let's see.
pronounce your last name for it.
Spell it or say it?
Esturillo.
That was worse.
Who's
Esther.
closer?
The way I tell people to say is Esturillo. So Esturillo.
Esturillo, yeah. Oh, I got it the first time. All right.
No, you throw the R. A lot of people throw the R before the U, because I think that's a Spanish thing. So Esther.
And when I was saying it earlier on the thing.
Huh? Esturillo?
Anyway, welcome. Sorry for not being able to pronounce your name.
I want to put more focus on this, all right? Because for people like me, this is a real hot button issue. Like, we're scared. Like,
I mean, I deal with it.
If you look as white as I do, you don't even want to touch it. You're like, I don't know.
Oh, Terry, come on.
It gets misspelled a lot.
Well, the part that bothers me more is the Charlie part. Like, where's the fucking E? Like, you know? How can you be Charlie with no E?
All the time too, yeah.
Well, of course it does. It's wrong. You spell your name wrong.
My mom was cool, okay? She was like, this guy's gonna have a nickname.
You have
that's how I feel, because like I'm a junior, but instead of being a junior, my father named me, Terry the Second. So I'm like, oh, fancy.
Yeah, that's different.
It's fancier like this.
So how was y'all's weekend, guys?
I had a great weekend.
I know you did. We're gonna talk about your Friday night. But what else did you get into this weekend? Anything?
No, I mean I did a sketch with some friends. That was pretty cool. That took up most of my day Saturday. Mm-hmm. Just in running errands.
I didn't have to paint anybody's bed. So that was.
That's
true. Paint a bed?
If you want to explain that, Gio.
I will, because I worked and I had 2 shows. So I worked all day and I did comedy at night. Worked all day, did comedy at night. Terry was supposed to come help me paint my bed, but I didn't have time. And apparently you didn't have time, did you?
No, I mean, look, I loved having my Sunday all to myself. That was fantastic. The second you said, oh, would it be okay if we did another day? I'm like, fuck yeah, it'd be okay.
I'm confused. You're painting your bed, the actual bed?
Well, I got like a cheap bed on
not the mattress, dude. The bed.
On Facebook Marketplace.
Like the band? Oh, okay.
I'm antiquing it.
I love that Charlie thought we were gonna paint the mattress.
I thought you were doing a sexual innuendo where you're like, yeah, we're gonna.
Oh my god!
No, you're obviously a dude who sleeps on a mattress on the floor. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh my god!
No,
you're like, what do you mean you're gonna paint your bed?
It's a good mattress. It's fine.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Oh, sorry, my phone's acting a little weird.
You got some metal and some
we
wood.
Lost you.
No, but
sorry.
She has an actual wooden bed that she sanded down and now wants to paint. And when you're handy or you know how to do things, it becomes like that thing of like when you own a truck, everybody wants you to help them move. It's like that. Like I get calls all the time from comics everywhere, just being like, hey, this outlet doesn't work, or the bed needs paint. I mean, shit. The weekend prior to this one, I painted my sister's house. The whole thing.
Painting sucks. It's so meticulous.
It's all right. I used to, when I was a teenager, I painted houses for a living. So it's like second nature at this point. Yeah.
All right. Did we all share it? I mean, that's what we were supposed to be doing while we were making small talk. Are we ready to get to it?
Sure. Let's get into it.
All right. Let's get into it. So Texans are seriously embarrassing me, guys. They're embarrassing the fuck out of me. Do you want to know why? Because they fucking believe that the snow is fake. And there's all kinds of pictures on the internet of them blow drying the snow.
Who sent the snow, though? That's very important. Who sent the snow? Who sent the fake snow? Did you not read the article?
Yeah, yeah. I'm letting you guys.
Well, I was waiting for you to answer. The Bill Gates sent snow to Texas to screw with them.
So you're blaming Bill Gates.
No, the article blamed Bill Gates. What are you talking? That's the conspiracy theory.
But why? Why? What's his motive?
There is no motive. It's an look.
Exactly.
This is just like everything else in the past few years. It's an attack on intelligence. Anybody who looks smart, or anybody who thinks they're smart, or anybody that people think are smart, they just attack them and attack them and attack them because people are getting dumber. And they're feeling like they're feeling
threatened by that intelligence. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, there's a war on intelligence in America today.
I think that's in it. Personally, I think that is by design. I think that they intentionally dumbed us down through the education system. And now I'm not kidding. Like, I was educated there. I'm not complaining about my education. I know how to read and comprehend, but there's a lot of people that don't, and they're like trying to blow dry snow with an electric blow dryer.
Yeah.
Like holding the snow over it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we're
stupid, right? Stupid. You're going to electrocute yourself, dummy.
That's pretty dumb. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that newsroom clip from a few years ago. With Jeff Daniels, where he rails on things. The one you know what I'm talking about, Charlie? I see you shaking your head. Yeah. That whole thing, like America's not the greatest country in the world anymore. Yeah. Well, there's one particular part in that really struck me, which is where he said that we used to inspire to intelligence. We weren't threatened by it. It didn't make us feel small. We tried to be that. Now we just shut it down. Just anytime somebody's smart, we're just like, shut the fuck up. You're doing something, or, look at it now with the vaccine. Everybody's worried about the vaccine. Like, what the fuck? Why? Why would we have this conspiracy for your dumbass? We don't care.
Rural mentality, in my opinion. Yeah. Charlie, who would you blame in this situation? Why do these people believe that this snow was fake?
The internet, I guess. That's all they get. Their
the internet.
Yeah,
because they're rude.
Information overload.
That's why.
Yeah, they just believe anything. Honestly, at this point.
Well, because it's fascinating. That's why. Because that's fascinating. Having a severe weather incident because of inclining weather systems right now because of global warming and climate change. That's boring. That's a boring problem. But to think that Bill Gates sent fake snow to come get you, because you're Trump voters, that's, oh my God, that's fascinating. That's something to fight against.
Is the Bill Gates, is that tied to QAnon?
I'm sure it is. I mean, these people said that Tom Hanks is a pedophile. Who the fuck doesn't like Tom Hanks? Honestly, if you don't like Tom Hanks, something's wrong with you. Okay? I'm just going to say it flat out. Something's wrong with your heart and your mind if you don't like Tom Hanks.
I don't know. I mean, it's like Charlie said, everything's fake. They don't believe anything anymore, or they believe whatever version that they can choose off the internet, because there's all kinds of versions.
Well, reality left us a while ago.
They don't know science well enough to know that why their snow's not melting or why their snow's turning black, and they don't know science well enough not to hold water over an electrical device. So I mean, I want to say it's the education system that failed Texas, because
the soot thing is the one that gets me the best, because they've been doing that for years. They did that in Atlanta a few years ago. John Levine was sending me pictures because he lives up there. That's an old comic from back in the day there, Charlie. But
and we had him on the show.
They were sending me pictures of like, oh, I take a lighter and I'll put it under this snowball and it turns black. Well, yeah, that's not from the snow, idiot. It's from the lighter. You know what I mean? Like that's the butane that you're putting against it. Yeah, you could do that with anything. Like,
what was the news article that posted that? Like the website.
Oh no, it was a major one. I sent it to her.
That posted this story.
Yeah, it was like CNN.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
that's
This one was.
I just can't believe.
No, it wasn't. It was too fab.
Yeah, but CNN's
But
where
nonetheless,
I saw it. But that print article was the one that I could find on it. But the original article that I saw on it was the CNN video. But you know, I mean,
we don't need the
articles.
articles. All these tweets are out there. You know, they believe it's fake. It's crazy.
It's like you said, it's a lack of education, and the internet, just so much information that people don't really put the work in to figure out how things really work, or they just sort of don't believe everything.
I question a lot of people.
They're crazy. Because the
like what you
crazy
just
is
did. Like I question a lot of people's sources of their information, and even though that came from TooFab, like I say, those tweets are real, man.
Yeah,
these people were doing this. I don't know. Like that's insane. But
because
you know what else people think that is also fake? They think Black Lives Matter is fake, and they think that they don't really do anything. But Black Lives Matter is giving back to the community, and people choose to ignore it. And maybe it kind of ties into what we just talked about, but who's to blame? Why do they do that? The day I saw this article come out about them launching a financial relief fund amid COVID it's going to provide $1,000 to people who need it most without question. And you know, people are still out here like, oh, Black Lives Matter ain't doing nothing for the community. Yeah, they are. You know,
they're literally doing money.
Why do people hate on Black Lives Matter so hard?
Black Lives Matter it's not a community service program. Like if they're doing anything, that's good. They're meant to be out there protesting and bringing awareness to police overreach and police accountability for when they go fucking ham on people. That's it.
Yeah.
And I've seen them protest for white people too. I've seen protests for white people.
Well, this is aside from the protests, Terry. This is just financial help amid COVID. They're just helping the community. And I mean,
it's great that they're doing that, but that's not their purpose. I mean,
it's not their purpose, but you know what? Like everything is so tied to economics. And I think that just helping people out economically, maybe you see less police shootings or less arrests or something.
You know what the problem is though? As soon as you mention money and any kind of like discrepancy in the money, then it allows people that opportunity to go, oh, see, it was just a big scam. They're just doing it for the money. They're just doing it for this. They're just doing it for that. And it chops the legs out right from underneath you. And that's not what they're supposed to be doing. You know, you and I both went to that BLM protest in Yellow Springs. We went to that together. And then we went out to the polling station, same thing. Nobody was out there trying to collect money. Nobody was out there they're literally just trying to highlight a subject. That's it. Police brutality and overreach, both with white and black citizens. It's got nothing to do. I tell people all the time,
Terry and Charly, that I think all races love to hate the organization. And they like even want to say that the organization gives all its money to the DNC. Charly, what are your thoughts?
I don't see why they can't expand their purpose. Why can't they also help financial people in need? Like I don't see why not if it's helping the community be safer. And people are struggling right now still. I don't see an issue with it.
No, I think it's great that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
Well, I mean, it's great that they're doing that, but it's not.
They're not doing these things.
It's.
Why do people try to say that they're not doing these things?
So what should they use the funds for? Just for legal fees for like people wrongly arrested and stuff like that, and like what should they use the money for? Are you saying there should be no money? I mean.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying whenever you bring up money or any kind of impropriety, when it comes to money, people just start slinging arrows at it and it cuts the whole thing off the knees. You know what I mean? But that's not the point. I mean, if somebody wants to donate their money to BLM, then donate your money to BLM. All of these stories are just ways of saying this whole thing is bullshit. That's it. It's just ways that people can
But that's
let's face facts. The dumb people can easily say that, oh, see, it's just a scam. They're just in it for the money or this or that, or you know what I mean? Like it's
why
just
are people so eager to believe that? Is it the media?
no, it's hatred. They hate it because they've been taught to hate it. No, like Antifa. Everybody talk, oh, Antifa this, Antifa is not even an organized group. Like there's no hierarchy to Antifa or what's called Antifa. I mean, we used to just call them anarchists, but now we call them Antifa, which stands for anti-fascist. So if you're arguing against anti-fascism, what are you arguing for? You know, but it's a buzzword. It's in BLM.
But y'all are both. Wait, let me interrupt you and say that I want to know, why do people hate this organization? Why do they,
because they were told to
change the narrative of what's actually happening, and they're actually helping the community, but people say that they're not. People say it's a scam. Why do people say this?
Because they were told to. They were told to question this. They were told that this is a bad thing. All of a sudden, you saw news organizations mentioning BLM in the same breath with Antifa. And it's just not even the same thing at all. But they've been told. That's what's happening. People are being manipulated. That's it. They're being manipulated to believe one thing or the other. And, and right now,
you agree, Charlie?
BLM's under attack.
If you look at the news or certain right-wing news, all they show is buildings on fire and stuff like that, or stuff from riots, and they just blame BML for that, which is BS.
Not even that. At least half a dozen times that I can recall right off the top of my head, they'll show video of, say, a riot or something like that, and then they'll be talking about Antifa, or they'll be talking about BLM, when the video they're showing isn't even from this fucking country. It's been from other news stories years ago, and they're just showing it as B-roll.
Why are they gassing the people up?
Because it gets ratings. It keeps them watching.
You know why they're gassing the people up, guys? I can tell you why they're gassing the people up. Because we have become too woke. We're out here telling white people to be less white. You know what I'm saying? And it infuriates white people. It does.
Of course it does.
Who's to blame? Why just telling white people? Because I'm not white. I don't know. But when someone says it to you guys, maybe, do you feel like infuriated, or are you like?
I'm gonna let you go first, because I'm about to go off. So.
Well, I'm Brazilian, so being less white, I should be doing that, I guess.
No, you get a pass.
I'm pretty much white. I grew up white, or I grew up privileged, so
doesn't matter.
If they just switch out the word white and privileged, everything would have been fine, or something like that. I think I could see why. The argument I always hear from white people is that, I can't say this, but you guys can say that, kind of deal. That's what usually I hear the counter argument to why they're offended or whatever. But the thing is just white people don't have a history of being repressed like that, so I think that's the past. At least that's the explanation I remember hearing about.
I used to have a joke in my act about that, Charlie, where I said, oh yeah, that's the main argument that I hear, because looking the way I look and being who I am, I get a lot more stuff said to me, in hushed tones than you do. So it's like, oh yeah, they can say the N-word, but I can't say the N-word. That's racist in all of it itself. And it's like, dude, we've been running the whole world for 15,000 years. Like, all they want is not to say one. We're getting off cheap. What is your problem? Exactly. But that's what it is. It's entitlement. It's entitlement of we should be able to do anything we want to do because I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't enslave anybody. I didn't do anything. Yeah, well, shut the fuck up and just do the nice thing to make other people feel good. How about that? How about we just do it because it makes other people feel good?
I didn't know you were going to go off like this, Terry. I thought I had talked to you about this all week, and I'm surprised. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm getting a little sick and tired Like, you know, you want to talk about the white privilege thing? Yeah, we can have a discussion about that because I've been on both sides of it. You know,
On both
yes,
sides.
I've enjoyed white privilege, but I've also been spread eagle and handcuffed for no reason either. You know, it was when I was a teenager, and it was more ageism than racism, but they were after every teen in my community when I was growing up. I didn't grow up in a nice place, so if you were under 18, they was out to get you. But that's not my point. It's not the white privilege that gets me. It's this white entitlement of like, you know, I should be able to do what everybody else does. Well, you can't. Okay, some people can swim and some people can't. Get over it.
Well, I think so if you don't know what we're talking about or you haven't heard about it, Coca-Cola had a diversity training that we can't figure out if it's not confirmed whether it was optional or not, but it was with the woman who wrote Robin DiAngelo. She's a white lady, and she wrote the book White Fragility. And I think it's funny because it's, to me, white fragility that infuriates white people when they hear that phrase, to be less white. Now, what she meant to be less white is to be less oppressive, to be less arrogant, to be less certain, to be less defensive, to be less ignorant, to be more humble, to listen, to believe, break with apathy, and break with white solidarity. And these can let me just finish. These can even be repeated, I would say, for women's rights. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, why? These aren't bad things. And maybe her telling people to be less white was not good branding. But at the same time, quit being so goddamn fragile. Like, do you know how many times I've heard in my life that I need to make sure I spoke more proper or more white so that I could exist in these white spaces? So Jesus, all you have to do is hear that, oh, be less white. Oh, okay, it's silly, but you get it, right? Like, it's not that fucking hard.
Well, the phraseology is where they went wrong with that. The be less white, be less this, be less that. It's you're implying that you are too much of that.
So far, none of my white friends have been like outraged by hearing this phrase.
Because again, the phraseology, be less this, you're implying that I'm too much of it. And what they should have said was be more aware, be more, you see, stop saying be less and start saying be more empathetic, be more apt, be more aware of your position in this world and other people's. I think that incites in me when I hear be more, it makes me want to be better. When you say be less, it feels like an accusation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Be less fragile.
Well, yeah, but again, I'm speaking for my people. I'm not speaking for myself personally.
Look, people, be less fragile. You know?
Yes, agreed. But we've been running shit for 15,000 years. So we're not used to being on the bottom of the pile, you know.
It's just crazy that a company as big as Coca-Cola let that happen. Like, they really dropped the ball. I don't know who was doing the HR there or what, but it's crazy.
What cracked me up was it was a white lady that was saying this to them. That made me, because I thought for sure, I was like, oh, some you know, like sister that's like really about the cause. But then when I saw it with Robin D, I was like, oh. It's really funny. This white lady's telling white people to be less white, and it's pissing them off. But you know what? I think a lot of people don't get it because of the racial comprehension gap. I've always spoken about this. I've written about this. People don't understand what racism is. They don't really understand the Black experience in America. And so that's why this phrase, be less white, hurts them and makes them so offended. Because you just can't walk a mile in my shoes. You know what I'm saying? So, but even with women, it's like, be more ladylike, cross your legs so men don't look at you. Tell them don't look at me. You know, like.
Hey, well, we had the man spreading thing we went through for a little bit there. So like, I mean, crossing your legs is less of a gender issue and more of just a politeness issue. Like
Shandy says that be less sounds negative, so she can see what Terry's saying. Shandy. Yeah. So.
Oh, hi, Shandy. I see you back there with your wine.
Cheers.
We got a live studio audience.
Cheers, everyone. Yeah. I'm trying to keep my feet out of it, though, Terry.
No, it just no, you're fine. No, it sounds accusatory. When you say be less to the average person, like I can see through it, but I understand how a lot of
people less oppressive.
Well, yes, but arrogant. That's insinuating that you're being
less certain. Be less defensive. I'm so sick of white people being defensive when I fucking try to talk about racism. They try to explain it away.
I know, but you're
more. Here's one. Be more humble. Be more humble.
Well, we all need to be humble. This is why I'm not racist. This is why I didn't get on that boat, because guess what? We're all just bags of meat and chemicals. That's it. Like, you can talk about whatever bullshit
Harry, but you're not listening.
All right, I am.
Listen, white man. All right. Believe. Break with apathy. Don't just be apathetic when someone says they're experiencing racism. Try to understand them and, understand what they're going through. And break with white solidarity, because white solidarity, I think white people are afraid to speak out on racist issues a lot of time. Not saying my friends, right? But a lot of white people are afraid to speak up on racist issues because they don't want to break with that white solidarity,
Well, I don't know. How many emails have I gotten about me being a race traitor just by doing this podcast?
And what's funny, Terry, is my previous co-host. My previous co-host went through some of the same experiences. So
of course they do. But that doesn't matter.
Am I racist? Am I racist?
No.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
I don't
sometimes you pull that card too quick. And I don't think it's necessarily to do with that.
That makes me racist. It sounds like you like the racism comprehension gap.
No, I think racism is a crutch for you sometimes. Sometimes you lean on it.
Now you sound like a conservative again.
Okay, whatever. I think sometimes you lean on it just because it's an easy argument to make, but
I think a lot of white men think that, and that's it.
Okay, if you say so.
Listen, believe. Break with apathy, Terry. Break with white solidarity. Hey, be less arrogant.
Listen, you are just a bag of meat and chemicals just like me. I could give a fuck what you're
Terry, you have to start being less suppressive. What'd you say?
That? I was like, I feel like Gio has her new poster now. She's going to post up.
Mm-hmm. All right, she's going to start selling merch with that.
Brad says everyone should be more human or less human, depending. He said it might be a lot easier if we just replace being
none of this shit matters
with being an asshole. Listen, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think white people, they're so afraid to call racism out because
I call racism out all the time. They
can identify with being called racist. So it's hard for them to be like, yes, that was racist, because they're like, oh.
None of this shit is going to matter when the aliens land. That's all I'm saying. When the aliens land, all of these
you're saying is you are tired of talking about race, and now
going away, because then it's going to be human versus squid monster or whatever the fuck's coming. Like,
it sounds like
it's the only way we're going to unite as a world.
That's the only way, right? We have to have a common enemy. Like, I was aware and alive and adult as 9/11 struck us, right? And you instantly, everyone in the country united against a common enemy, which was the Muslims. And everybody, all the racism just turned like a laser beam and just focused. And Muslims were getting beaten in the street. Mosques were getting bombed. Like, it was crazy. But it was just because
you've been preaching this the last few weeks. We get it. You want.
We need an enemy that's beyond.
We can read.
We need an enemy that's beyond the human race, right?
I really thought we were going to get them.
Will unite the human race.
You thought we were going to get them in 2020?
I really thought that was my.
It
that was
seemed
cold.
like-
Well, I don't know. There's the latest video out from United. What was that pilot from United who said that he saw a UFO? Like he called it in over the radio. It's online now. It kind of went
Why isn't
viral.
this on the show this week?
I've seen a lot of military footages of like on UFOs and
Yeah.
sketchy. I don't know. Looks like you can't explain them. It's probably just
Of
other
course.
militaries like aircraft.
It's
that
an
most people like.
infinite universe. Of
All right,
course, there's
guys.
life outside.
Enough about race and aliens. I want to talk about gender now. So,
Yay.
Here we go. Here we go.
Mr. Potato Head is Mr. No More, guys.
No,
They
it
came
isn't.
for him.
It isn't.
Who's to blame?
Nobody, because it's not real.
It's not even a person. Like
It doesn't matter. Hasbro came out and put a tweet out that said Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere. They're still Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. We're just changing the box art. This is a classic clickbait story where they changed the box art on the package, and probably to save money, to be honest. It's probably less in the design fee, less in the printing, less in the manufacturing. But they've already came out and said it. It's not that nobody's changing these. But this story caught on like wildfire because it's a classic conservative clickbait story. You're just being manipulated. That's it. They've already said it. It's a dead issue.
And it's a kind of attack on the left, right? Because they're like, look
I
at the
don't think
left.
it is.
Of course,
I think,
it's an attack on the left.
I think you're being the reasonable white guy. I think it was
I'm
like a
not.
nod.
That's just their tweets. Look it up.
Yeah, I saw their tweet,
Put it
Terry.
out.
I picked a story. I saw it. Don't mansplain to me. I
I'm
saw
not
the story.
mansplaining, but obviously you didn't see that part.
It's a clickbait story.
I just
The
read whatever you
company
sent.
announced that box sets that don't present a normative family structure will also be available for purchase. So this was a calculated decision. I don't think it was just like, oh, it's cheaper. They are just, it's a
Maybe.
nod to acknowledge all genders. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, or it might just be a publicity stunt because sales are dipping.
And
You
let me
know?
say, it says that toy makers have been updating their classic brands to appeal to today's kids. Like Barbie has shed its blonde image and has come out in multiple skin tones and body shapes. Thomas the Tank Engine added more girl characters. American Girl is selling a boy doll. Oh, do you want to just make America great again? That's how you like movie. Like, oh,
Well, let me ask you this.
all the toys.
Let me ask you this. If Wendy's came out tomorrow and said, you know what, Wendy's now Wendell, does it change the way their hamburgers taste? No.
Their
Who gives a
hamburgers
shit?
started tasting bad.
Kinda
Well,
like
No,
Wendell.
it's all, this is
a
just,
great name.
yeah, I know.
Would you
It's
say-
just gender politics. It's ridiculous.
Would you say, Charlie?
I like Wendell. That's a good name.
Wendell is a good name. That's
You like
right.
Wendell?
I'd go to Wendell.
Would you trust
I
burgers
go to
from
Wendell's.
Wendell or Wendy's more?
I mean, I grew up with Wendy, so I'd go with Wendy. But
I mean,
think
I
that's
always
the thing,
kind of
too. People
thought,
think, like,
to be honest, I always kind of thought Wendy was hot, right? Like I love the whole red hair freckles.
she's a
thing.
little
I was
girl.
like,
What are you talking about? It's like,
she's not a little girl.
Yes,
She's a grown
exactly.
fucking woman. What are you talking about?
It's his daughter.
She runs the company now.
It was
She's 60 years
no, it's a
old.
child,
okay,
Terry.
the real. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. We're talking about the logo or the real person.
Okay, whatever. I was a child.
Way to make it awkward, Terry.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
Okay,
when
we
you-
will.
I was a
Let's take some
child.
heat off Terry and put it on Charlie. What about that? Welcome, Charlie, to the Blame Girl podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Charlie is our fellow comedian. He's awesome. He is the founder of Murph Chuck Comedy, and he hosts at the Pompano Brewing Company and has the best beard in South Florida.
Oh, thank you.
I love Charlie because Charlie is like a lot of comics down here where like I got to watch him start and then I got to watch him succeed. And you've been succeeding from what I've seen, from what I've been watching. You've been succeeding in South Florida over the last year and a half. You've really come into your own. And I love watching that shit, man. It just blows me away when I see shit like that happen.
I appreciate that. I have been hearing that a lot from comics that have been in the game in a while, and they're happy to see my career, starting to like.
Yeah,
pick up.
you were
Well-
already kind of like up here for me when I got into the game. How long have you been doing it?
In June, it will be 3 years.
Oh wow.
Oh no. When Charlie started, he was rough just like everybody else.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
like me,
yeah.
just like, we were all rough. But that's what you love to see. If you really love comedy and you really love the art form, right? And you love the craft of it, you love to watch somebody start all raggedy, trying to climb out of the cave, and then watch them make it and get out of it and find their voice. That's the thing that really turns you on. You know what I mean?
You said like 3 years in July, right?
In June, yeah.
In June? Okay, so I guess you haven't been doing it much longer than me, but yeah, you seem like kind of more like experienced. I guess you had a few months on it.
Because he found his voice. He found his voice, and now he's
like
got
a year.
it. That builds that
Yeah.
confidence.
No, I started in October of that same year. That'd be.
I thought we did start around the same time. But yeah, it took me a while to be more confident and comfortable. That's the main two things I had trouble with. Just being confident,
100%.
owning it. I just had to trust myself, believe in myself, and be more positive about everything. Because it's pretty easy to be super negative about comedy. So it's
definitely
you just gotta do my own thing, put my head down, grind, and it's been working out. This year's been pretty good so far.
Well,
And
I can definitely
you got
see
like
the
a good. You got
I
like
can
a
definitely see
good.
the confidence blooming.
Thank you.
You
And
got
yeah, I love hearing the
like,
positive feedback because
attitude.
there's so much jealousy and negative stuff sometimes. So it's I really love it when people give me like positive.
Well, anytime you step up on a rung on a ladder, there's always going to be somebody that's going to want you to knock you back down to where they are. You just have to fight through that. Like I have a huge reputation for being an asshole, but I'm not. But whatever. Like I mean, a little bit, yeah. Like I'm not an asshole. How about
be
this?
more
Too
humble.
honest. I'm just too honest. I'm too honest.
Okay.
When I
This is about Charlie right now. Charlie right now.
All right.
So Charlie, yeah, you have come. Like you have a room, the Pompano Brewing Company. How do you like being a host and producing shows?
It's funny because I really wasn't something I wanted to do, but like Mike Sean kind of pushed me to open a room, and it's just good to have a room because it helps you you respect more when you go to another comedy club what it takes to produce a show, like how much time you got to put into it, everything you're dealing with. It just makes you, and then hosting a show too makes you a stronger comic because you got to control the room, you got to control the crowd, and doing it repetitively and having your own room. I'm guaranteed to go up at least once a month usually.
Well, I think when you host, it makes it more like work because it's still work when you go up to do the jokes, but when you got to stay there through the whole show and
it's not like I just host too. I'm making sure everyone's no fires are happening. Literally, a fire happened once at open mic. Remember, Gio? You were there. The ashtray caught on fire outside.
Oh yeah.
I had to put it out while I'm in between hosting open mic. It was crazy.
Yes.
I had a comic die on stage once.
Oh, I heard about that. Improv, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
You were
you said Charlie, you said you do it once a month, yeah?
Now it's 2 a month. We bumped it to 2 a month now.
Okay. The thing that I learned when I started my first room was I did it once a week, but I noticed that because I had so many regulars that would come back in every week to watch the show, that just pushed me farther to write new material because I didn't want to keep going back up with the same material over and over again. So do you feel like the same thing? Do you feel like because you have this room now that's going a couple times a month, do you feel the pressure of having to come up with new material to satiate the crowd?
Yeah, it makes you reach. You have to push yourself to write more because no one wants to hear the same jokes a million times, honestly. So unless they really love you, but it still gets old. You get tired of it. So it does force you to start writing more and push more. And even in crowd work, it's you need to get better. You got to challenge yourself. And that's
every time I see you, it seems like you've written something new. It's nice to watch you perform. So tell me,
well, because even if it doesn't work, even if it doesn't work, you're just like, okay, well, it didn't work. But like, it's easier to shake off because you're like, oh, it didn't work. Well, who cares? I wrote this yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not something that you've worked on for months to refine, and then it bombs anyway. You know, it's like, oh, I wrote this yesterday or a week ago or whatever. Like, who gives a shit? Like,
I did have one joke that took me forever. I could not figure it out for months, and it was just not working. And then I finally figured it out, and that was such a good feeling because it took me months to just. I didn't get the wording right, the phrasing, the timing, and then I finally figured it out, and that's a good feeling. When you get a new joke and it works out, like one of the
It's
best
hard to
times.
know when to like let a joke go too, you know, like to be like,
When
okay,
you're
this
doing
just isn't gonna work.
I always equated it to like a guy working on an old car in his driveway, and he keeps trying to get that carburetor working, and it don't work, and it don't work, and then finally the engine turns over, and he's like, "Oh my God!" It's such a sense of relief. It's like, this wasn't for nothing, you know. All this work wasn't for nothing.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, and we get laughs out of it. We actually get like immediate feedback from an audience, so that's like the coolest way to reward yourself.
So Charlie, what's your
Yeah,
favorite
well, when it doesn't,
venue
you get the
aside
other one.
from the one you host?
What's my favorite what?
Venue aside from the one you host.
And don't say improvs.
Not obviously the improvs.
No, that's too easy. Too
I
easy.
know. I'm thinking. God, there's been so many new ones and some that closed down. I like Villains. Villains in Miami. It's a great theater.
That's a
They've
good. That's a great room.
Yeah,
Great
I
room.
love that theater.
a good one.
You're not the
I like
first one to say that.
tonight. It's an open mic, but it's one of my favorite mics. It's a Riverside and Plantation. That's just a fun mic. They usually have music and comedy, and it's just a good vibe. I love going there on Monday.
I've gone there once when we had an off night on the show. I checked it out. It is a good vibe. My cousin really liked it.
Yeah,
and they've
it's a little fun.
You know,
it's fun.
Mics that mix, you know, all arts open mics, as they call them, right? The same thing that Funky Buddha / Robot used to be. You know, and even Brew House up here in Lake Park, like all arts open mics, they just got a different feel to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you've got poets and musicians and comedians and everybody coming together like that. Or Speak.
Is that Riverside's in all arts?
Huh?
Yeah, it's all art.
I guess I missed that fact when I was down there. I remember going down there, but I was like working and I don't know.
Mostly comics, but there are bands and musicians. And the thing about musicians and poets, they're great audience members. They actually sit and listen, are attentive. So that's why it's fun too. Other than that, I like Red Light, ran by Bobby Mack on Sundays. That's a fun room.
That's a great room. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun
Plus, you
room.
can get a lap dance afterwards. So.
Yeah. Could definitely do that. It's a strip club, by the way. If people didn't get that. God, what rooms? Because I keep thinking of rooms. I'm like, no, that's closed. That's closed.
But your favorite is what, Villain, outside of your own and the improvs?
Well, mine's my favorite, obviously. But Villains is
you can't say your own. That's we're giving you promo time at the end. So
yeah. Villains is great. I'm just spacing right now. I don't know. I can't think of it.
No, it's okay.
It's all right. We got the gist. Red Light. We got Villains. You got the what was the other one you said?
Mine.
Have you traveled around to do comedy? Have you traveled outside of South Florida? I
started this year. Yeah, I'm finally gotten some road gigs, and I went to Cocoa Beach at a place called Gregory's upstairs. It's a steakhouse. They have upstairs. That's really good. That's like a real professionally run, place. And that was the most professional feeling I ever had.
No, I've been to Gregory's. It's a great room. I love that room. Yeah.
It's a fun room. I've been trying. That was one of my goals this year, to do more road gigs. Luckily, that's kind of happening. I'm doing one like a month, going out outside of the Tri-County area. My goal is to do Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and get out of Florida too, wherever.
Well,
so
hit up Ken Miller in Orlando. He'll set you up. Yeah.
And then someone told me about some Saturday shows too. I forgot the name of the venue, but someone told me about like second and third Saturdays or something.
Yeah, and no, he's got a couple of good rooms, but he knows all the people. He'll set you up right.
What is your proudest moment?
One of my favorite moments was I did a show at an open mic. It was All Arts again. It was a Common Grounds, and it's like squeaky clean. You gotta be squeaky clean or whatever. And I go up. I do well. I do 5 minutes of super clean material, which at the time was hard for me because I didn't know how to be clean per se. And then after, I'm sitting in the crowd waiting for my other friend to go up, and then someone next to me, the audience guy, he's like, "Hey man, you did great." He's like, "Dude, I just got off work," and he was in a bad mood. And when he heard comedy was coming up, he was kind of like, "Oh, this is gonna suck," because it's mostly music. And he said my set made him feel better. So, and that was like the nicest thing I ever heard.
You're gonna make me cry. That was sweet. That was a really sweet story.
That's awesome when that happens. That happened to me once at Swampgrass, believe it or not. But and then they paid their tab and then they left right after me. They were like, "Thank you for that. I needed that. It made me feel better. Had a hard day."
Yeah.
I was like,
it wasn't like just good set. He like explained
moment stories we've heard. That was by far the sweetest.
Oh, thank you. I am a very sweet boy, apparently.
All right, so now we got to talk about Kill Tony. You got on Kill Tony on fucking Friday.
Saturday.
Do tell.
Yeah.
Oh, Thursday?
Saturday. So we had two shows. We had a Friday show and a Saturday show. I bought tickets to both shows.
Okay.
Shout out to Lalo actually, because I bought the Friday ticket and I didn't buy the Saturday ticket. I didn't have money at the time and I was afraid they were going to sell out. So Lalo Rodriguez spotted me the money to buy the ticket.
Nice.
I paid him back, but if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even have gone Saturday. So I went Friday, and it was such a fun show. It was just a fun show, and not a lot of comics got called up. Just one, Freddie Finnerty, went up on Friday, which was pretty cool. Our table kind of just roared. We're like, well, finally. There was a lot of first timers, a lot of like first time evers going up. Like, oh, my wife signed me, my best friend signed me, or whatever.
First time ever you go on. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's become mostly like. I think it used to be mostly comics watching, but now it's a lot of just fans watching too.
It's random podcast viewers,
Yeah. Like last night it was like, okay, Friday night was, I don't know, it seemed like it was sold out. So I don't know how many people that is, 200 or 300 people, only 50 names in the bucket. And like I said, only one comic came up on Friday, I remember. But I had such a fun show. So I wasn't even like bitter. I didn't get called up or anything because I just had a fun time. And I was so happy for Freddie going up. Yeah. So when I went Saturday, I didn't even have any I'm not going to get called up. I'm not, whatever. And Jonathan with an H goes up first. He got called first. But he did his character thing and they thought he was like just crazy, which was kind of funny.
Of course, he
didn't break character. So they just thought he was crazy. Someone went second and then I got called third, which was crazy. And I just jumped out of my table, ran to the stairs because they were all the way on the opposite side. I think I was a little out of breath when I first got up there. And then I did my bit that I was practicing, my dating bits. Got just under a minute and it was good. I got laughs. I got at the end, the last joke got really good laughs, like a really big laugh. And I did well and then Tony started roasting me, calling me Teddy, what's the name of that bear? Forget.
Ruxpin.
Teddy
Ruxpin. I had one. I
grew up with that bear. I can see that.
Yeah.
I never knew what it was, but I just knew it was bear related or something. I don't know.
It was a bear you wanted to get at
Teddy
Christmas
Ruxpin
time.
bear.
I know that.
Yeah.
And it was great. He was he enjoyed that I had setup, punch, structure, and he was just making fun of how I look. Called me adorable, and then he was asking questions. I remember before, it's funny going up to Kill Tony, it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go up. I think you just have to have that mentality that you're going to go, even though the chances are so ridiculous that you're going to go up. Because there were 60 to 70 people names in the bucket on Saturday. So what I think.
That's very ironic because a couple of years ago, I went out to LA and it was the only time I ever got actually called up at the Comedy Store. I got to perform there in the belly room upstairs, but it was after the Kill Tony thing. But they had an open mic afterwards. So as long as you bought something from the bar, they just had it where you just take your receipt, you write your name on the back of it and you throw it in the bucket kind of a thing. And I sat there all night waiting and waiting and waiting, to see if I get called because I was so excited, because that's like the Mecca, to perform at the store. Yeah. And and then I went to the bathroom, and while I'm standing at the urinal taking a piss, I get a text from, my then girlfriend Jackie, says they just called you. And I was like, oh shit. And I'm just like trying to put I'm trying to put it away, trying to run back up the stairs, you know what I mean? But I ended up getting on after that, and fucking Jeff Ross was sitting there, and it was, so I totally get the like euphoria in the moment, because like you don't know what to do. You're like, holy shit, I can't believe this actually happened,
There's a weird tension.
That's what it felt like for you when they called your name, right? Like you have
there's such a weird tension every time he calls the name. Yeah, every time he calls the name out of the bucket, there's a weird tension in the room because everyone's just waiting, and then call the name, and it was.
They called more Florida comics, right?
Your name, and you get that surge of like, oh my god, I have to do this now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Luckily, I had a good walk to like kind of mentally like. I literally before the week too, I kind of mentally prepared myself like you're gonna be on stage in front of Tony Hinchcliffe and whoever the guest was, which was Jimmy Shooper this time. Yeah. So like I just had to mentally prepare to be on that spotlight. Luckily, I was able to perform in my improv once before, so I had a little bit of familiar with the stage, I guess.
So there were other comics that got called up from our group, right?
Yeah, that was the craziest part. I got called third. Someone else got called fourth. Dan Castle gets called fifth. So in the first 5 names, we know 3 comics that went up from Palm Beach.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That had to be a lot of fun. So that wasn't your proudest moment?
I mean, that was pretty cool, but like, I mean, I don't know, the guy just have that personal effect on someone really stuck to it.
Yeah, I hear it in your voice, man. I hear it in your voice. So,
Blake Woodrow also got called up.
Let's go ahead and move on. Story better. That was a lot sweeter. It was a lot. I mean,
more honestly, I got called up. I'm still living in the Kill Tony moment now. But,
well, the difference. The difference is
Charly
that this moment being your proudest would have been all about you getting to be on Kill Tony, as opposed to the other one, which was all about the audience member,
the person that you touched,
you making his day better. That's why I like it more, is because it was all about them, not about you.
So Charly, real quick, because we're running out of time. Tell us who is Charly? Tell us about yourself outside of comedy.
What is a Charly?
What is a Charly? Charly is a short Brazilian dude in Boca Raton. I'm pretty chill. I'm a chill guy, and I learned a lot myself in comedy. Everyone just says I'm a kind of a happy-go-lucky dude. Most times I get, down like everyone else. Just chill, just work. Comedy's like taking over my life, so I do a lot of comedy. I love my family. All my family lives in Florida, so I try to hang out with them. Made a lot of friends through comedy. Just trying to have a good time. I'm trying to like relatively started like actually living later in my 20s because I just didn't know what I wanted to do or anything. And I feel like I'm finally starting to be like happy and like living a life,
Yeah.
So I just try to be positive now. That's what I am.
That's good.
That's the way to look at it, man.
You gotta have a balance. You gotta have that balance. So
it's not even that. Just be happy. That's what life is about.
Well, the balance may make you happy.
Yeah.
A little bit of balance. You got your comedy. You got your family. So we're gonna play the blame game, guys. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I think so.
Let's do this.
All right. Take some deep breaths.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So Charly, I have never seen you angry. You have a professional level of unbothered. Who's to blame? Like, how do you do it?
I think I'm just naturally reserved.
It's Xanax, isn't it?
It's no drugs. No.
I said Charly.
I do get angry. I definitely get angry once in a while, but I just internalize it more. I keep it in, which might not be healthy. But who's to blame? My dad? No.
Catholicism. You're internalizing it. Are you
like an even keel kind of guy where he just, never unfazed, kind of even keel?
No, I'd say the opposite. Just a typical, just think about a typical older Latin man. He wasn't angry. He never like yelled all the time, but just like, you'd be outspoken.
Right.
I guess is the word I would say.
It was
maybe
griped. Is that a good word? Just
griping
griping?
is a good word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Griping. I hope he doesn't watch this. He
No,
is
it's
on
fine.
Facebook.
My father griped too.
Yeah,
I think
and that
all
turned me on
fathers
from
gripe
like
at a point.
that turned me off from complaining or being negative or getting angry. And it's probably because I'm a little bit of a pussy too. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to be.
shut up.
I don't want to be, confrontation. So
No confrontation. You're not about that life of confrontation. I've seen.
no, I mean, I have become more blunt and just say whatever's on my mind. So
Yeah.
but I think I have a way of saying it. Where
I feel like you have low blood pressure. Like your level of chill is just like.
last time I checked, it was pretty chill. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Well, every time I see Charly, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but every time I see Charly's face, I just feel like he should be cutting hair in a Latin barbershop somewhere, right? Like he's got that look. I don't know if it's because I get my hair cut in a Latin barbershop, but it just feels like he should be taking a straight razor to somebody's lines, right? Like that's just what that's the instinct that I have is like he should be listening.
I don't know, but I know Charly has a good beard barber.
He does. That's what I'm saying is like it just
naturally it's just
got good lines, so it seems like he should be taking a straight razor to people.
All right. Charly, do you have anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
Yeah. This Friday we have a show at Pompano Beach Brewing.
I'm gonna try to make this show. I don't have anything Friday. So
it's kind of a stacked lineup now. So it's Friday, Pompano Beach. It's called Murph Chuck Comedy now. I decided to change the name to like my brand, I guess. Before it used to be Bangin' Banjo. They decided to rebrand.
Don't downplay it. Murph Chuck Comedy. That's
Murph Chuck Comedy. Yeah, it took me a while, and I was just like,
your brand. Support it.
I'm still getting used to it. But we have for the show Friday, we have Phil Isme, Chris Renoy. I don't know. I'm not sure. I've never actually said his name before. Lita Faye and Sean Mullins. And then we also have a couple drop-ins from New York coming too.
Nice.
I'll be hosting. It's a free show. We got beer. There'll be some kind of food truck out there.
Will the food truck be? That's what I want to know. I got to know about the food.
Oh, I love the food trucks.
Usually it's been Frankenfurters. I got to confirm. I think it's Frankenfurters, which is like hot dogs and stuff and tater tots.
That's fine.
It's delicious. It's good.
Is it keto?
You got to
ask. It is if you take the bun off.
They do have a vegan option. They definitely has a vegan option. Plus tater tots again. So that's pretty vegan, I think.
No, keto, you just got to lose the bun. Then you're fine.
Is beer keto? Is beer keto?
No.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
No, a little bit of like Michelob Ultra. And then you're
They don't have that. They just have craft beer. So they have,
you can do like, you can just do they got wine?
They might have some canned wine, yeah.
Did you say canned wine?
Canned wine,
yeah.
Because they don't make
canned wine. Now you're too bougie? What?
You can't drink. You drink canned wine.
All right.
I know you.
All right. Well, guys, I know I'm gonna definitely try to make Charly's show this weekend. What about you, Terry? Let's make it a family trip.
Sure, why not? I mean,
right. Maybe I can even get Shandy back here to come out. I do
can,
like that room. It does have good beer, and I like those food trucks. And I love me some Charly. So thank you for being our guest this week.
Thank you for having me.
Please excuse us. It's time for Terry Wayne's Words for White People.
That's right. And these are words for white people this week. We're not words for all people. I'm specifically speaking to my honkies right now.
Well, stop.
No, they need to hear this. They need to hear it. Because the more that I've gotten around over the last 6 to 8 months, the more that I feel like they need to hear this one, which is we're just going to talk about manipulation for a second. And it's kind of like what we were talking about before. You have to stop letting people manipulate you. You have to stop it. Okay. You're an intelligent person. You can think for yourself. You don't have to listen to these talking heads tell you what to think, because they're manipulating you. They're telling you what they want you to believe, and they're pushing their own agenda. Okay? You have to stop. Just listen to your own self. Listen to your own mind. Listen to your own heart. Listen to your own feelings, because they are definitely manipulating you. They're telling things in a certain way. They're putting up videos in a certain way to make you feel a certain thing. They're eliciting a response from you, an emotional response, because they know that that means more. It's better to have a soldier than it is to have a voter. And they know that. They know that for sure. It's better to have a soldier that's willing to storm the Capitol on your behalf and take a 20-year prison sentence on your behalf, so you don't have to, right? You don't have to face the 20-year prison sentence. They do. So stop listening so hard and stop believing all the bullshit they say. Take it for a second. Look at them as the same way you would look at a used car dealer trying to sell you a car. Okay? Of course they're going to say you need a new car. They're selling it. Do you get it? They're selling you the car. So have a grain of salt with everything that you listen to. Don't listen to Tucker Carlson and take it all as gospel, because it ain't. In fact, if you read the red letters in the Bible, you'll understand that Jesus said something quite the opposite of what he's saying. So stop listening to him. Take it with a grain of salt. Understand you're being manipulated, and understand that people are manipulated on both sides, left and right. They're being manipulated. You have to look at these things from the viewpoint of the agenda that somebody's trying to push. It's the same thing. Like, I love documentaries. I watch them all the time. I love documentaries, but I take the facts and I put the feelings off to the side, because they're all pushing an agenda, no matter how benevolent it may be. You know, no matter how much good they're trying to do, they're all still pushing an agenda. So just remember, everyone has an agenda. So take it with a grain of salt, take the facts away from it, and then leave the bullshit behind. Because if you don't, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up wearing ram's horns in the Capitol building on the Senate floor, and you're going to end up with a 20-year prison sentence begging for vegan food.
All right. I think that's well said. And I just want to tag that with be less oppressive, be less arrogant, be less certain, be less defensive, be less ignorant.
Well, just how about this?
Be more humble. Be more humble.
We'll go biblically and we'll just say be more humble.
Listen, Terry, don't interrupt.
Chemicals.
Believe.
Nice to each other.
Break with apathy.
How about just?
I'm sorry. I had to do it one more time.
I'm gonna make
All
a
right,
shirt
guys.
for you.
Thank you for tuning in. It's been fun. Charlie, thank you for being our guest. You should see us this Friday at your show.
Murph Chuck Comedy Show.
Murph Chuck Comedy Show. Where can we find you on social media?
At Murph Chuck on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Charly Esturillo on Facebook.
All right.
So, Charlie, if I show up, am I getting a guest spot?
Dude, there's too many already. I'm sorry.
All right. But guys, you can catch me this week, Wednesday at Artful Dodger in Boca Raton. All right. We'll see you. Will we see them next week? Is next week when we're off?
No. We've got next week. We've got the whole month planned. We're good.
I think we're going to have to do it from Hullabaloo again, because I'm on that show again. I won the contest last week. So
that's fine. I mean, I'm sure everybody enjoyed our terrible Wi-Fi.
Who's our guest next week? We'll talk about it after. All right. Bye, guys.
Happy bowling.
All right.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, bye.
Thanks, Charlie.